All right, what's up, guys? I'm down at my house in the Cape and the weather sucks, so I'm going to check out the local card shop down here. Great place, 5 Lanes Cards. They were on our podcast about 5 months back. I want to see what kind of boxes they got today. Maybe I'll grab something. I also want to see just what's going on in the hobby, so come with me. This is my local card shop, 5 Lanes Cards, and I'm going to sit down and talk with the owner today, see what's going on in the hobby, see what they got for boxes, and just talk about cards.
It's been 2 years since we opened the shop here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Things are doing good between sports cards, Pokemon. Pokemon's probably 70% of our business, and we're starting to get a lot of soccer now. But basketball and football are our big sellers. Well, I've been collecting since I was probably 10 years old, and with 2 boys. My oldest son, Gino, we used to go to a lot of card shows, and we used to do card auctions years ago. That's where I've got some of my most valuable cards. And with all the cards that I have collected over the years, I decided to open up the shop. And my younger son, Matthew, said, "Dad, let's do this shop together." And so that here we are 2 years later, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
We did 3 last year, and we have 1 in July. We usually have 30 tables. Usually probably 200 to 300 people will stop by. It's been very successful. And the reason why I did it was there's not many shows on the South Shore here or on Cape Cod. So July was very successful last year.
Great.
My favorite card is the 33 Babe Ruth I have. It's a graded 6, which I think should be better than the 6 that I have. There was a little bleeding in the back, but for 33 Gaudy, it's a beautiful card. I got that card at an auction 25 years ago with my oldest son, Gino, when we were into the hobby, doing auctions and sports shows, pick up cards. And I got that for a pretty reasonable price compared to what it is now. And I also got a Honus Wagner card there at this auction. In those days, those cards were pretty reasonable compared to what they are now. But the Honus Wagner is only a 1, but it's a Honus Wagner. Yeah, well, I was at a good size show last year, and we had the card out, and I was going to sell it, and we had a lot of interest in it. And I had a grading company come up to me and tell me that shouldn't be a 6, it should be an 8. And I says, okay, that's great. I go, do you think you can get me that 8? And they says, well, we can't promise you, but it could go up to a 7 or an 8. And I says, okay, well, why don't you take the card? And I was very leery because it's a very expensive card, but it was a very reputable grading company. And long story short, I gave the guy the card from that. And 2 weeks later, he said he was going to call me the next day when he got to his office. And my oldest son called him 2 weeks later because we never heard from the guy. Fell off the face of the earth. And my son asked him where the card is, and he goes, what card? And I'm like, what card? What do you mean, what card? The Gaudy 33. He says, well, let me find out where it is. And it took us almost 3 weeks to finally hear back from the guy. So yeah, I was not too happy with this company when it came to grading it. They finally did, and they sent it back to me and never even graded it. So I still have the grade that I have with the other company now.
Okay, guys, hopefully you just heard that, because this is a major lesson. These card shows are magnets for predators and salespeople from different grading companies. Won't name names or anything like that. But if you have a card, or if you're an old timer with a card at one of these shows, and somebody comes up to you with an offer that seems too good to be true, or they think you can get a better grade, there's always something in it for them. And just think twice before you hand them your prized possession.
It's very hard. So we've been, it'll be 2 years, Memorial Day weekend, since we've been open. And Topps is probably the hardest company that we've been trying to get cards from. We have little kids come in here every day looking for cards. And from what I'm finding out is Topps only wants to sell cards to the rippers. They just don't want to deal with the little guy, the mom and pop store. And it's sad because we've tried, written to them, done everything we can for the last 2 years. And basically Topps, I feel really not happy with them. And hopefully they'll change. But they just care about the dollar, and they just care about the rippers. Yeah, believe it or not, last night somebody opened from one of these boxes the Absolute Football. You got a Stephon Diggs gold Kaboom to 10. Wow. That card is very expensive. It's a beautiful card. He was ecstatic about it. He called us this morning. And that's probably one of our best cards. We've had, I think, 3 1-of-1s in the last 2 years pulled from here. My son Matthew pulled a Cade Cunningham 1-of-1 autograph last year. I'd say it's probably 50-50 from kids from 6 years old to we have adults come in up to 60 years old. We had an older gentleman in yesterday. He had some beautiful old cards. We just are going to be getting graded for him. He was probably in his 70s. So, I mean, it's all ages. In Pokemon, same thing. I mean, you think it's just kids, but no, we have a lot of adults in their 30s to 40s are collecting Pokemon. And as I said before, Pokemon is our biggest seller in our shop right now. And one of that reasons also is it's hard to get sports cards. The difference is just getting cards. I could get cases of cards. There was no online buying. I could get hundreds of cases, whatever I had the money for. And so, like I said, it's a total different for the mom and pop store now, because of all the breakers. They get whatever they want, and I can't get anything really. So, yeah, it's changed a lot. Yeah, this was before we opened the shop. I had basically had COVID, and I was in bed for 2 weeks, and I found a bunch of boxes that I had bought from somebody a couple weeks before that, and I found a precious metal gem stuck to another card, and it was sitting on my table, and I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was like a $2 card. And one day my son, after I was better, my son Matthew, we were going through some cards, and he goes, "Dad, do you know what this card is?" I go, "No." He goes, "That's a precious metal gem. That's like one of the hottest cards you'll ever find." And yep, it was a green precious metal gem. And so I sold it on eBay and made a few bucks.
All right, so one other really cool thing they've got at the shop here, we've got 3 hockey sticks. They aren't just any hockey sticks. They're signed by Mario Lemieux and Kevin Stevens. And it's interesting, on the stick, you've got sort of their life story. You got pictures of the Stanley Cups here. You can actually get these hockey sticks if you want them. You go to theherocollectibles.com. I'll put it in the notes as well. You go on there, you make a donation, and you can get one of these sticks. Pretty cool.
All right, so I'll show you the breaking room that my son Matthew set up, and it's really neat. He's broke a lot of good boxes. We just last week got a Joe Burrow Color Blast out of one of the boxes, which was a very nice pull. We've got a Puka card numbered to 10 2 weeks ago. So we've been getting some really big cards. Not as big as that gold one we just got last night, which is really nice. But over here, I'll show you the breaking room that Matthew works out of. And he set it up really nice. And we have a lot of cards on the table that we have to ship out. We have a lot of shipping to do this week from the breaks that we've been doing. A lot of autographs, and Yeah, we've been getting some really good hits. These are what he did was these are all the boxes that we've broken. So he made a little collage up. You have the National Treasures, which was good there. A couple National Treasures baseball, and basically everything else from Prism to anything you can think of, Illusions, and then the Pokemon. So we've done a lot of breaking out of here. So you look on our 5 Lanes website, and Matthew usually does it once a month. Right now he's been doing that because we've been pretty busy with the store. But in the summertime we'll probably do it more often. But the problem is getting cards. Like I said, it's the hardest thing is getting the cards. Pokemon we can do fine with, but sports cards, it's hard. We're just not getting the quantity that we want. I mean, we can do cases if we could get them, and that's the hard thing.
You know, this is pretty eye-opening for me today. This is my local shop in the summertime at my other home, and I love these guys. I've been supporting them for a couple of years, and it's almost a bit sad that a little hobby shop like this can't get cards for kids. You didn't see it on camera because he was shy, but there was a kid in here, and you know, we were just talking about the ability to get cards. They wanted to get a certain hockey box, and they can't. And the problem is these little card shops, they aren't able to get the inventory that they need. They're resorting to literally going to Target and buying them, which I think is crazy. You know, 20 years ago, you go to your hobby shop, you get cards. And I don't like that that's where the hobby's headed right now. If this card shop in Plymouth, Massachusetts is facing these issues, I guarantee you that card shops across the country have the same issues. And it's not acceptable. You shouldn't have a distributor saying, well, sorry, you're not Backyard Breaks. We can't get you XYZ for cards. Like, that's not cool. That's not how we're going to get kids involved in this hobby. And the other side effect of this is now you're forcing these hobby shops to become breakers themselves. And so as you can see, they've set up their own breaking unit because, again, they've got to move volume and look respectable to these distributors so that they can actually get the cards they need for the 9-year-old kids that walk in here, which I think is just madness. It's madness. Hopefully things change, and hopefully Topps steps up their game, maybe does something with a distributor program and makes cards just more accessible for local hobby shops.